up, Bart here. So I'm here with Bella. I just took her out of the car. And as you can see, Bella is very vocal. One of her owners is coming up. Bella displays a little bit of separation anxiety in combination with the anticipation of work. Every time Bella comes freshly out of the car, she displays this excessive vocalization as she expects she's going to do something high drive. So what I'm doing right here, I'm just waiting it out. I'm not allowing her to move any further until the behavior has calmed down and she's giving me some focus. So the lady that just walked by at my right side is one of the owner's friends. They came and visit out of San Francisco, and Bella knows these people since a puppy. So Bella, whenever she sees them too, gets very excited and extremely vocal as she believes she's gonna get something, as she actually did in the past. So I'm waiting it out until Bella is calmer and shows me focus. And also I want to teach her that when she's getting out of the car, that doesn't mean that we're going to do fun stuff immediately when she's out of the car. So here she showed me a little bit of focus, and she is rewarded by movement with me, and I also gave her some food. I decided to take her out my front gate and then walk over my property, go back onto my property through a gate that she's never been through. And the effect that has is that for Bella, everything is new. So here the people asked me if they could follow. There was quite a big group that wanted to follow me, and I said that would be too much for Bella, so I asked them not to. My criteria, again, I want assertive behavior, and I want a relaxed mind state. There was quite a bit of wind on that day that for Bella is also a stimulus. She gets a little bit excited, like a lot of dogs get excited with wind. So also Bella. You can see Bella look to the field as she's been there before. Apologies for the cameraman's finger here. So she wanted to go to the field. The previous times that we have walked past this field, she always saw dogs. So today there are no dogs, and you can see that she was actually looking for them. Dogs have a very good memory, incidental and situational memory, and spatial awareness, where if the dogs have encountered something interesting, whether it's either something bad or good, dogs tend to remember that pretty quickly, even if the exposure was only once. So if you want to know more about the memory of the Canis lupus, I highly recommend my live webinar available in this group, where I talk in depth about the memory of the Canis lupus familiaris, and for many people an eye-opener. You can see we passed the field and the body language of the dog is a lot more relaxed. The tail is down, the ears are a little bit backwards. There's a slight wag, and then there's an open mouth when she looks at me. So the dog is getting relaxed. Also, Bella is checking in with me a lot quicker and more than she usually does. There's some cows in the background. You can see them in the upper right corner there. And then Bella's doing really well. What is really important with a dog that is chronically overstimulated is that we should do that in almost all cases, is that we are not too vocal. Excessive vocalization will trigger, in these dogs, extra arousal, and arousal, is part of the problem that the dog has, and has, is not able to control himself. I see that with a lot of pet owners. They want to reward the dog, by petting pretty heavy and then talking with a baby voice, good puppy, good dog, and then you can actually see the dog getting in such a high arousal state that they're unable to focus the rest of the training session. So we need to really be careful in how much vocal praise we are giving the dog. So a lot of people talk a lot with their dogs, and during training or when they're in the house, and even that's not a good idea, as if you watched my From Tyrant to Teacher video, I talk about learned irrelevance, and the dog is learning that whatever comes out of your mouth is for 90% of the time irrelevant, and then will not listen eventually to the conditioned cues that you have given him. So here I'm waiting for calm behavior before we go through the gate. And as you can see, she's anticipating that she's going to the training field, which I'm not. So I'm completely surprising Bella here by going in a different direction. And for her, this is completely new. You can see that at her behavior, she's more sniffing around. But then getting back very attentive here. One of the tips that I give people, if you build too much routine in your daily life, the dog will eventually anticipate. And there's good things in it. So if the dog can predict something, he's more likely to do it. But also when he can predict something and you have a different routine, the dog can get actually very anxious. So we need to implement variations in our daily interactions with the dog, as if we condition routine constantly, getting off that routine or changing our routine actually can induce some anxiety. You can see that Bella is intrigued by the lawnmower, but also displays a lot of caution. So I decided to sit on the mower She has seen the mower before, as you, if you watched the video a couple episodes ago, she did really well. However, now there's a different situation. So dogs are situational learners and are very bad generalizers. So for her, even though she's seen the mower before and she had interactions with the mower, the fact that the mower is in a different place is a completely new situation. So we need to work ourselves through that, and we need to show that the mower is neutral. So I'm bringing her to the wood pile, as sometimes there's mice in there, and I wanted to give her an opportunity to sniff, but also I wanted to see if that wood pile would bring increased arousal. Bella's doing actually really good. So my plan is to bring her into my back pasture, walk around, see how she does with the other dog. And you can see she's intrigued. Of course, the other dog is also aroused by seeing the other dog. However, I do not want Bella to respond. And with a little bit of pressure, the dog is adjusting, but you can see the tail. The tail is more upwards while we were walking past the dog, so the dog had a more dominant posture by walking past the dog. So Bella is dominant towards other animals, and you can see the body language change when we were closer to the dog. And then it goes back to a more neutral posture. So I decided that I wanted to take her to the storage containers in the back. There's a lot of critters under those containers, so I wanted to expose her to new areas. She's never been here, but also there's a lot of smells from mice, raccoons, squirrels, cats, and all that stuff. And I wanted to see if she would spike in her arousal, or if she would remain more neutral. And so far she did really good. Like, there's a lot of critters under these containers, and that's the cameraman's hand. So we're walking through here. And Bella is actually doing extremely well. All different kinds of tools I use in my dog training to expose dogs to stuff. So I was very happy with the exposure to these various stimuli. I decided to walk to the opposite side of my pasture, and I'm going to bring her to an area where there's a lot of mole hills, and wanted to see how she does there. Normally, Bella, when she knows there's other critters, wildlife like mice and moles and gophers, she goes into that extreme arousal state, start vocalizing, digging, biting, etc. So we're going to see how she responds. But before I go to the mole hills, I walk her to my burn pile, as my burn pile also has often a lot of critters in there. And so I'm going to allow her to explore, but also demand calm and assertive behavior. So I asked her, come on, let's go. And that means you're staying with me and you can explore until I say, hey, it's fine to explore. So I'm trying to discriminate when the dog needs to have attention and when it's okay to be a dog and just explore. As you can see on the body language of the dog is very neutral, very relaxed. So now I'm walking to the area in my back pasture where there is a lot of molehills. And I'm gonna keep walking over them for a couple of times. As you can see, she sniffs them immediately. The tail goes up a little bit, the ears go forwards. There's quite many of them. I do not want her to dig in it. I want her to be neutral to the molehills. So far, Bella is doing good. And here she checks in by herself. And again. So we're continuing walking over my property, and I'm going to bring her through the gate and walk her to the cows that are in my neighbor's pasture, and then see how she does. So here we are at the cows. During the last 12 days, Bella has shown really good behavior around the cows, around horses. She's getting very neutral. I'm able to, ask basic behaviors like a sit and a down while she's focusing at me. A big difference compared to the first day she started working. And again, what is important is consistency and clarity in the communication, and that you have the same consequences for the same behavior, whether it is a negative or positive consequence. Another important factor that contributes to the clarity in your communication is your own energy. Your energy should always be neutral to anything around you. If we would pay attention, or for instance, if you have a dog sensitive dog and you know it, and you walk up to a dog and you already can get anxious, or you're afraid that your dog might lunge, your energy is changing, your hormonal composition is changing, and your dog will sense it. And that by itself is also a stimulus for your dog, that the other dog has an effect on you, and therefore your dog will respond to that other dog. So maintaining neutral energy with our sensitive dogs is utmost important. So I decided to walk to the cows again in the other pasture, and then see how Bella is doing. But as you can see, things are coming together. I'm very pleased with where we are in our training. So let's have a look at the cow. The stance is square. The cow stands still. It's actually a bull. The ears are forward, and the cow is looking at the dog. So in a dog's perspective, that is a very dominant body language. Often people don't realize that when some other animals are looking at your dog, when the animal is square and stands still and constantly focuses or has eye contact with the dog, with ears that are up and forward, that is actually a dominant display. So Bella extremely well. So I decided to walk her off the field, and we will continue our journey on the road. So we're walking past these trees here, and previously she would have or could have attacked the trees every time she's around trees. When she is overloaded with stimuli, she would take that frustration and take it out on the trees by excessively vocalizing and trying to bite and scratch the trees, which now all the stimulation that we have given her has not crossed that threshold yet. So here we're on the road, and I'm bringing her back to the neighbor side with the horses and the other cows. And I just talked about the stacking, the stimulation, and that we have not seen any kind of excessive old behavior. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to see how much stress this walk actually has already how much stress this effect had. And what you can see here is that while I'm walking towards the horses and cows, Bella's behavior is changing dramatically, more so than the first time I walked her, or better, very different if I would start here. But she's responding well to the communication. So she showed a lot of interest to the horses that were running in the back, so I stopped. And we continue our way. Bella's doing really well. Here we have another car, and you can see that she is changing just a little bit. Tail went up, ears went forward. However, she maintained composure and control over her drives. The reason why I stop is that walks are not always moving, and when there's something interesting, I just want to be neutral as well. So a sitting behavior is good to accommodate that. And Bella is doing great. She's checking in with me quite often. I decided to stop again at the horses and see what behavior she would offer. And she's checking in, which leads to a reward. So I'm walking, back to the car right now. In the next episode, I'm going to expose Bella to a motorcycle up close, as that is one of her biggest triggers. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for your support. Without you guys, I would not able to do these videos, and I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.